And we are good to go.
All right. Ask me hearties and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. Arg. I be your captain, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is me first mate and skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
There we go. There's the part 3. Okay. Trying to get this thing open. It was IMDb's being troublesome. In a world. Tristan, I am doing the intro, please. In a world of capes and lunatics, gods and monsters, there is one who has faced too many monsters and now hides. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this is his story. Obi-Wan searches for allies as he attracts the attention of the Empire, threatening the locals. Our director this week is Deborah Chow. Writers are Joby Harold, Hannah Friedman, Hussein. I want to sit. I'm gotta wait for it to reload now. Joby Harold, Hannah Friedman, Hossein Amini, and Stuart Beatty all get the written by critics. They all worked equally hard in show business this week. And the least working man in show business is George Lucas, who created Star Wars. He doesn't need to do much anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, he's got a couple billion. He's doing okay.
Yeah, as he should. He's brought
he's
joy and inspiration to so many millions of people. So well deserved.
Exactly.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. But anyways, this episode, we open up with the third sister. Actually, we open up with Vader, as I recall. Correct? And we see Vader talking to the third sister via hologram.
Right.
You know, and this is where she's going behind the Grand Inquisitor's back after she has already stabbed the Grand Inquisitor.
Right.
And, you know, I'm just going to say it. Vader knows she stabbed the Grand Inquisitor.
Yes.
He just doesn't care, you know?
No, of course not.
Yeah. It's
that
like,
guy, I mean,
people
if
are
that guy
expendable.
deserved to be in that position, Obi-Wan would be in Darth Vader's clutches by now. And this woman brought him closer than that guy did. So that guy was dead weight and he needed to go.
Clearly. Yeah, not going to argue. But this, of course, does cause conflict with the other Inquisitors, you know, who do have a case of the spostas.
Sure.
I'm supposed to be next, you know.
Right. Hey, supposed to be ain't a thing. You know?
Exactly.
Ought to be is the only thing.
Yes. But I do like how she pulls rank on him, you know, basically saying, listen, Vader knows I told him, and here's the thing. You can go and go and tell him you want to take charge and want to make your own plans, but he's already told me we're going to this place. We're going to the mining colonies. We also have in this Obi-Wan and Leia, who are
starting to warm up.
Are
starting to warm up to him.
Yeah, but she's doing the. Are we there yet? Can't you force it to go faster? That's not how the Force works, Leia. You know.
Well, he did fix a little drone.
Yeah, he did fix Lola, and that made her. Yeah, although it's like L01. It's oddly spelled when she actually gives the full thing, but you know. She named her droid Lola, and you know, although we never really see Lola fly again, so I think Lola's still having some problems.
Interesting.
And you know, because you just sort of see it like through the little wing flap,
Hmm.
Well, it's beeping, so I think it may have some more intrinsic damage. But Lola does go into hiding and stays quiet, unlike some droids. So that's a good thing. Um, what did you think about Obi-Wan just deciding to ditch the rendezvous point? Like
Yeah.
Leia's being all impatient, but he's like, no one's coming. It's like, why
He's
do you even assume that?
right. Well, he was too quick to come to that judgment. And
Yeah.
it just seemed like you're a Jedi. Not only Jedi, you're a special Jedi. You're a master Jedi. Like, how are
Yeah.
you that forlorn or that short-sighted? That seems odd to me.
Well,
A lot of his character seems odd to me. Or that level of depression and letting go of your identity to that degree, it seems unearned. They haven't shown me why he's that. I mean, like, yeah, okay, the whole thing with Anakin and whatnot, but I don't know. It just seems too far fetched to be that far gone.
no, I think it's very believable. I think that he
All
has
right.
got real heavy PTSD. And the thing is he is looking for ways to basically crawl back into his cave and hide. And I think this episode really highlights that when we get to the end, just how traumatic this all is for him. Because he really just wants to hide, He just wants to, he makes a big show about like, oh, when the boy is old enough, he will need to be trained. Which of course, no, he won't.
No.
No reason for it.
Right.
Yeah, no
Right.
one asked you. Uh, you know, uh, but it's a good excuse for him. And to me, what this Obi-Wan story is about him making his excuses, making his explanations for why he doesn't have to, um, you know, do all the things that everyone wants him to do. Because really, to him, he's like, you know what? I have been through this. I am done with this. I really just want to. I really just want to go home. And as much as I care about this kid, the fact of the matter is, she's on my nerves, and I really want to get her back to her father, and I've already screwed that up. And he's probably thinking, this kid's gonna die because she can't keep her mouth shut, and is running us into danger. But at the same time, if they just waited, maybe they wouldn't have been in danger because they would have gotten to him. What actually happens, though, is Leia goes and flags down a passing transport truck, which is driven by this great mole creature.
And that's Seth Rogen, right?
No, that's actually Zach Braff, I believe.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Really?
That's what I heard. You know what? I have the IMDb up. Let me just make sure.
Because the whole time in my head, I kept seeing Seth Rogen.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first, but no, Freck is voiced by Zach Braff.
How cool!
Yes,
Eagle.
Yeah, but the thing is, and this is something that they were talking about with it, which is that literally, this whole scene is meant to show you that, what, the nicest people in the world will sell you out to the Nazis.
I don't know that that's what they were saying. I mean, like the way I saw it was like he just wanted some order. Everybody's always fighting, and I can't, just conduct a life. But whoever, I don't care who it is. You're there, you're chilling. Okay, nobody's fighting, bullets aren't flying. That's awesome, man. I haven't seen heads roll in 3 weeks. Now, some interloper comes in trying to offset the balance. We just got a little bit of peace. I can finally let my kids play in the yard, and all of a sudden, this guy's, I don't know, buddy. This is let me report it to the authorities. I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble in my town. That's the sense I got from him. So I mean, like,
and that's another fair cop. The other reference that people made was the imperial flag on the back, and just just how for someone like Obi-Wan, who had been harmed by the Empire, that's just seeing that can be very triggering and traumatizing.
Yeah, no, but I mean, people
Because
were harmed by the Republic too.
yeah,
I think
I've
that's what
been
he's disillusioned by too, a little bit, is that I thought I was fighting, the good fight, but turns out I didn't understand what the real fight really was. I was over here fighting for control politically and this and that, but I don't think that's the right way to cause good to happen, because no matter who's in control, to have that kind of a bureaucracy that reaches so far, it's inherently prone to turning bad. I don't think you can
mhm.
have that kind of a sprawling infrastructure of control without being evil. So,
Yeah, and that is a strong argument. That
so then
really,
if like this guy is just saying, can I just, grow my crops? Can somebody just, I mean,
mhm.
whoever provides me structure to do that and stops the other guy, I'm with it. I'm tired.
Yeah, I can get that. And we just meet the stormtroopers who seem like decent enough guys for stormtroopers again, but also
Yeah.
they're on edge because they're marching around in that plastic armor that is not comfortable.
No, no.
And that,
And what does it really protect you from? I guess the lining on it can probably protect you from laser weapons pretty good. That's probably why they're able to
well,
wear it.
that's the big question because it really doesn't seem to protect anyone from anything.
Right, but
And
they
it
don't
really
use
seems like,
projectiles, do they? I don't think I've seen anybody use projectiles. Have you? Other than like rockets. But most of
yeah,
the gunfire is all lasers, right? So maybe it doesn't
yeah, and
need to be heavy. It just
they
needs
tend
to
to go
have
through,
certain molecular properties that
yeah.
bounce light or photons. That's interesting.
Yeah, but you also just notice that usually when stormtroopers get shot, they go down. So, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
you know
So what is it really doing?
exactly. And they're marching around. They've got this heavy helmet on. They got all this stuff, and their armor's all dirty. They're getting sand everywhere.
You know what they reminded me of? Like the way we always look at, or have started to look at, the henchmen in Batman comics, right? Right? Are
Yeah,
stormtroopers just like, henchmen from Batman,
yeah.
morally speaking?
They're just there for the paycheck, Maz. I mean,
Right.
that's what it is. They are looking for their paycheck. They're looking just like Freck, trying to bring a little peace and order to the galaxy and maybe make a few bucks on the side.
Yeah.
Although, in order to do that, they do have to impose an iron will, and not everyone needs an iron will imposed.
Yeah.
That's sort of when you get to certain places on the outer rim and other places where people maybe were doing just fine before the Empire showed up, and now because the Empire has to hunt down all these Jedi, you know, it's questionable what is the what is the right and wrong stance to take, because obviously the Empire is going to cause a lot of death and damage looking for these Jedi. In fact, we see this. We see Darth Vader um, really tear some places apart, and with such a cruelty. And it reminds you of when the third sister cuts off the hand of the woman who
Hmm.
talks back to her in the first episode. You know, Vader knows Obi-Wan can't stand for what he's going to do, so he's going to do it. And he doesn't care if these people are innocent. He doesn't care if these people don't have anything to do with it. He doesn't even care if they're hiding and just trying to be helpful. He doesn't need them to know. He just needs Obi-Wan to know these people are now dying because you're hiding.
Hmm.
And that is the difficulty of this. And when Obi-Wan goes and tries to confront Vader, and it is such an outmatched fight because Vader has a lot of hate in him. He's had, yeah.
So that when this lightsaber comes on sort of instantly, it's almost got to be like instinct, because he's been trying not to. He probably hasn't used it in ages,
hmm
right? So it's just like the force acting through him. It's just instinct that came on, right?
Yeah,
That
and
was a cool
it's
moment.
yeah. Well, it is a cool moment, although it is pretty horrific when when they are getting into the fight, when Obi-Wan is knocked down, and then Vader basically pulls down this big field of coal, then lights the coal on fire, then drags Obi-Wan through the coal to basically say, you're going to suffer like I have suffered, and really getting into it. And I think this is what gets us to what is maybe one of the most interesting parts of this, which is that you do have the sharpshooter, take out, basically spread the fire to distract them. But then you see the lifter droid basically go and grab Obi-Wan and drag him away.
Yeah, there's something a lot more to that lifter droid.
Oh yeah, well he's fully cognizant. He just was not given the power to speak. But like they said, actions speak louder than words.
Right, and there's that one scene where one of the Inquisitors come in and he's holding a weapon in his back and clenches his fist, getting ready to go. I was like, oh, there's something hiding in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a, that's the thing when you make droids fully sentient. They can decide for themselves what they want to do. And especially when one feels like, I was designed with cruelty in mind for me, because even the gonk droids gets to say gonk. And to create a creature that has no communication system whatsoever, it's kind of like, wow, that's pretty dark. And honestly, I do want to see him wield that hammer at some point.
Yeah.
I want to see him just, because he's going to tear the place apart.
They're building that up.
Yeah, because he's built for strength and durability, and he's going to tear the place apart when he actually has the chance to. But I see that scene and I wonder what Vader is doing there, because it looks like Vader is letting Obi-Wan go.
Yeah, I mean, really, because if he really wanted to hurt him, he would he has complete control over him, like a puppeteer, right? He can smash his face into the coals, and all he got was just injured his arm a little bit. So I felt like he could have gone a lot harder. Or we're left to imagine that he would have if this was more realistic, I guess.
Well, and I think part of it is the idea is that when the second explosion happens and he's just looking there staring into the flames, I think it kind of snaps him out of it for a minute. Snaps him out of this fugue of rage that he's been in to hunt Kenobi for this time. Because we do see that, when they're going back and the other Inquisitors are saying, we'll never find them now, because they were able to get away. Meanwhile, the third sister, of course, has Leia again. And, that's a pretty dark place to end it. It's kind of like this is the third episode. This is kind of the Empire, where you're ending it on all of the darkness, except there is this one bit of hope in it, in the idea that maybe Vader really did just let Obi-Wan go. Maybe he even realized,
I don't care.
Obi-Wan is not a threat to me.
Right.
That I could have killed him, but you know what? I think it's better. I'm just gonna let him live, because
he sounds miserable. Letting him continue to live in that misery, man, that's the worst thing I could do to him. I could end that misery, but why would I do that?
Exactly. There's a lot of expanded universe stuff in this, where we get the other Jedi that have made it through. I don't remember the names, but it was neat to see them called out.
The writing on the walls and whatnot, right?
Yes, which again, that's what the third sister finds, and that's how she knows where to go. And there's parts of you that are like, is that really the best thing to do?
Really?
When you're hiding from the Empire, to say, well, let's just all write our names on our wall, on the wall in our hiding place. But I guess it's like the Underground Railroad.
I'm sure they never did that.
No, I'm sure they did. I'm sure people wrote like their names on stuff, just to say they had gotten that far, or leave a marker for someone else. The hobo code, as they say.
Fair enough.
Got to leave something for someone else to know there are others out there that you can get past this point too. But yeah, it seems odd. You'd think that they'd have maybe a better coded system, but
Yeah.
it's also cool. But like I say, because of that, that's something that when the third sister sees it, that's how she knows to go into the tunnels. And I kind of feel bad that the girl goes back because she tells Leia where to go to meet the next person, which I don't know, man. That sounds a little rough. The idea of, okay, little girl, just run through this dark tunnel. There's a strange man at the other end. He's going to take you to safety. Hopefully you meet the right strange man at the end.
Yeah. That's true. But just as confident as they were in writing their names on a wall, she thought that tunnel was relatively secure. She didn't expect her to come in there. And she's a special child, right? She's a special child, and she knows how to read people, and she knows how to manipulate people. She's very smart. So, and maybe she has a touch of the Force. So, she might have some powers of influence.
The Force? Really?
Don't you think? No.
Well, I mean, yes, of course. I mean, she's obviously, I mean, it's Leo Organa. She's, she's the daughter of Darth Vader. I actually think that there's even an aspect of it where, there is a part of her that sort of feeds into this idea that she is more her father's son or her father's daughter than people think. Like they know, like Luke is what's what I want to use here, naive. He's still a young kid, he's still in the desert, and he's not who this girl is, who being raised in on Alderaan and being raised in the royal court is way more attuned to things. And the idea that she could be turned to the dark side, much in the way Anakin was, much in the way, like, we even hear her say this, I thought the Empire was sort of helping people, and Obi-Wan has to say, well, people like her father are trying to, but it's not working, And I think that's, if anything, that is the moral of this story in this episode, is Obi-Wan just saying people would like to help, but it's not working. The idea that maybe you can do good from within the Empire, it's an idea, but it's not one that is happening. So where do you think the third sister is going to take Leia next?
That's an interesting question. I mean, you would think she would take her to Darth Vader, but she wouldn't want to give a strategic piece over to Darth Vader and let him work out the plan. She wants to be responsible for catching him. So she's probably just going to use her as bait to get Obi-Wan to come get her.
Yeah. I mean, there's a part of me that really wants to see Jar Jar Binks in this.
Why?
And because I like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, okay.
And I do want him to have a bit of a redemption arc,
Okay.
And I would love to have that just happen in the story where, like, Jar Jar Binks helps Leia escape and get back to Obi-Wan, but just as like, Misa know what you looking for, and just use his own guile and foolishness to annoy people till they let him go. He is the true Sith Lord. But no, I always feel like Jar Jar Binks got a real bad rap.
Yeah.
And the guy could, I'd love to see the actor and the character have a nice redemption scene as part of this.
I mean, that would be nice, but it'd be very hard to pull off. There's a lot of bad feelings towards that character.
Yeah. I know, but you know what? He's exactly the character. I'll tell you this. He's exactly the character that if he meets Obi-Wan, he's going to be able to tell tell him, get over yourself. We were all fooled. We were all manipulated. Me more than either of you. But you know what? We still have to go on, and we still have to face our fears and face the world as it is.
Yeah.
So, quit being a jerk, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
You said go save Leia,
Yeah. Or die trying.
And
all your troubles.
or
will be
die
over,
trying.
right? Winner,
Exactly.
chicken dinner.
There you go. Any final thought on tonight's episode, Mozz?
I'm still finding it like meandering and not taking off yet as a show. So maybe it'll happen soon, but it still feels a little meandery.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 4th episode is tomorrow. And it's we'll see where it goes from there. And even if the 4th episode is not that good, at least it's more than half over.
That's true.
And
what other shows are they working on? Are they doing an Ahsoka show?
Yeah, the Ahsoka. I never can remember if there's an H in there. But yeah, there's the Ahsoka.
Before the S.
Yes, it's coming. They have the other one, which is it's the Rogue One prequel, or is it the one that it's called Andor?
Oh,
that's the other one that they're working on right now, Andor. And of course they've got I think they're doing something with Bo-Katan, but I don't know if it's going to be again in the Mandalorian or if it's going to be in Ahsoka. And I do think they're bringing Thawne back as well. So there's all this stuff in the works. So there's a lot that they're building into that Star Wars universe, well beyond the Skywalker family. So that is kind of an interesting thing that they're building out here. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, but I enjoy everything. When I used to do stand-up comedy, they used to say I'm like a cockroach, because no matter what you'd say, I'd always laugh. Yeah, it's a funny joke,
Is that James Earl Jones's voice, or meant to be James Earl Jones's voice? Why wouldn't they have a younger Vader and have it be Hayden Christensen's voice? Or is it?
It is actually, it is credited to James Earl Jones, but it is mixed, and a lot of people are saying it is actually mixed over Hayden Christensen's voice.
Oh, how interesting!
So it's Hayden Christensen's voice, and there are a few times where you listen, you hear it's just a little hint higher pitched, than James Earl Jones usually does. And I think what they did was they had the James Earl Jones sonic catalog, which the man has done several times, and they had Hayden Christensen read the lines, and then they just merged the two together.
Yeah.
So even how much James Earl Jones had to come in to do work on this is debatable, but he definitely got his paycheck.
Yeah.
And that is what the man lives for.
Yeah.
That and CB radios. All right. Yeah. So
so far, I think the third sister is my favorite character in the show. She's the most the most diabolical, and the one whose intentions are the clearest. Definitely the most interesting character. And I'm super interested to see how evil she's going to get. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, I think that's always the question, is how evil are you going to get? And, are you going to kill a 10-year-old girl?
I mean,
that
I don't think
Stormtrooper was going to do it.
A single,
Yeah. I mean, but it's a thing. It's that moment where when you actually are put in that moment, that are you going to pull the trigger?
I don't think she would hesitate, but I think she's smart enough to know that she's a bargaining chip more so than cannon fodder.
She's worth more alive than dead. Yeah.
Right.
Especially if, it comes into this whole thing about how the Darth Vader and his crew killed a senator's child for no good reason,
Right. And she's diabolical and ambitious enough to try to do something to even like she killed the Grand Inquisitor. Meanwhile, she was his like worshiping lackey for a moment, right? She pretended, played her role until it was time to take the dude out. I wouldn't put it past her that she would have designs on even broader roles, or that she would try to make Darth Vader look bad.
Yeah, well, it makes me wonder if maybe she's going to return Leia to Alderaan and say, well, once we heard your poor innocent child was kidnapped, of course the Empire released all of its sent its best people to find her and rescue her. That's a possibility, Mozz. All right, so Mozz, why does it do that? Every time I go to start read my lines, the thing disappears and it goes back to some other weird thing. Okay, so folks, if you've liked listening to the show, or even if you didn't, and if you would also like to let us know your opinions on it, you can write to us at CapesandLunatics@gmail.com. That's CapesandLunatics, all spelled out, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, call us at any time at 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES, where you can leave us an actual voice message, which we will play on the air if you want it to be played on the air. And likewise, go on down to the show notes. Click on that link tree. That's linktr.ee/CapesandLunatics. And there you'll go to all of our websites, all of our shows, our Patreon, all of our merch, all those things that you would certainly love to have in your home. And it supports the show. And Mozz, people want to reach out to you, how can they find you?
They can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com, or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzor. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter when I live tweet things when I feel like it, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssesser. Look for the two E's in the middle
for quality.
Bing. Thank you, Mozz. All right, you scurvy land lubbers. You have come across the Barney Blue of the internet with us. You have seen some things you may not be able to unsee. And now we disembark. But come back again next week when we'll once again sail full stream ahead. Ark. Okay.
All right.
That was a good show.
Yeah.